What's going on, guys? Joey's Gaming here, and welcome back to another video. Now, today we're going over another MOZE build. Now, my last MOZE build, I think, was a low 53 MOZE build. That was... well, it was good. It was good, but in Mayhem 10, now that we have Mayhem 10, the build doesn't really hold up to the scaling of Mayhem 10. Now, this is a build like with a new playstyle. Well, not a new playstyle, but you're going to want some other things that a Blastmaster Com and Transformer and Kibsworth and stuff like that. This is mainly a launcher build. Now, we also have a bunch of other items on our character. Now, this is because we're using the Deathless Bloodlayer combo with the while under 50% health gain 150 bonus red damage. Now, with Deathless, this is gonna put us to 1 HP and increase our shield capacity by 100%. So we'll always have this bonus 150 rad because we're always going to be under 50% health, but not shields. So this build has a lot of survivability, a lot of damage too, and we're going to be using a lot of new weapons because those are pretty much the only ones that work for Mayhem 10. Now, in this showcase, I do have some of the weapons that can still work. Like I have the Kibsworth, I have the Lump, and I have the L-Shock. These still would work if they would be just buffed a little bit, maybe a little bit of damage. It would be perfect, and they'd be perfect for Mayhem 10. Now the Lump actually still works, and the Scourges actually do as well. But we've got a Lump and Scourge combo that apparently is really strong. Well, I'm saying apparently, it is really strong. We've got this weapon now, the Plague Bearer. Now this, as I have already said, it's a Scourge / Lump on crack. It's just so good. It does a ton of damage, and it shoots more projectiles than the Scourge and hits for a lot more. You can actually direct impact enemies with the bullet shoots, and it'll actually kill them. Unlike the Scourge would in Mayhem 10, that would just tickle them. Well, not maybe tickle them, but you know what I mean. It's not as powerful as it would be. Now you can also use this anoint, the 150 rad, and you can also use the 300% damage for enemies again above 90% health. Now this anoint is kind of weird because people don't know, or people seem to not quite get how this anoint works. It's basing itself, the 90% health, off of the last health bar from the enemy. So let's take for example Tyrone, the underboss that usually spawns everywhere. Now Tyrone has 2 bars of HP and shield, and in the second form he has 3 bars, 2 HP and 1 shield. Now in the first form it's gonna get the 90% health is on the last health bar, which is a health bar basically. But on the second form, you have 2 health bars, and now people speculate that, oh well, the second health bar, when the shield is down, is when the 9% doesn't work. Well, actually, it's the last one, because it's the last health bar that it takes as the 90% health. It's kind of complicated, but the anoint is still really good. If you have a sticky gun like the Chaosan, the 300% will get, as long as you stick before the 90% health, the sticky damage will be the same as it would prior to below 90%. So that works for the Chaosan. It works for the OPQ system because that gun just dishes out a ton of damage. But for this build, since we're going toward cross promotion, I don't like using the career system. You might like it if you get the distance. I just don't like when I'm up close. I want to use the Chaosin because the splash damage increase or the splash radius increase is not that bad. Now, we're using also the yellow cake for single targets. For mobbing, we're going to use the Plague Bearer. As a shield, we're using the Big Blue Blasters with ASC Anoint. You can use ASC Shock, Incendiary, or Corrosive, depending on what you're doing. I prefer ASC Shock because we have already a ton of fire damage from our green tree and some in our red tree. Now, we're also using Chaosin, or as I said, the OPQ system for basically clear out some trash mobs that you don't want to use the yellow cake on. We're also using the cloning the cloning managing tracker if well, not if our health goes down, because our health is gonna go down sometimes due to the Big Boom Blaster not being that tanky. So we can sometimes use our cloning match trackers for health, but we mainly use them to proc Means of Destruction and pull the Holy Pin. Well, yeah, those two, pull the Holy Pin and Means of Destruction with Redistribution, which is going to give us ammo back in our Plague Bearers or in our Yellow Cake, or in our weapons in general, basically. Now, a little side note on the Big Boom Blaster. It drops a booster. Well, it can drop a booster that will restore 60% shields, grenade, and a heavy ammo. Now, this 60% shield is still good on big shields. Like, we have 36k off a 9k Big Boom Blaster. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that'll still be 60% of the 36k that we have, and that's still a lot, and it's why I think this is like the best survivability build for the takedown. And we're not gonna showcase the takedown because I don't really like Mayhem 10 takedown at the moment. It is doable, it's just not fun in my opinion. So I'll still do Athena's as usual. Now here are my modifiers. You don't need modifiers for this build. It's this insane. I would rather have less crit damage than less body damage for the very hard modifier. Because we're not gonna hit crits like all the time, and when we do hit crits, it's usually from our grenades, and grenades don't do damage in VM10 unless it's the fish slap grenade. Now we're using the Blood Layer and Deathless combo. On your Blood Layer, you're going to want 3 into Desperate Measures and 2 into Phalanx Dongstrin as the best rolls that you can get, because they'll give you a lot of damage. And the bottom rolls, this is a god roll by the way, it's pretty much what you need for Mayhem 10. There is splash damage, weapon damage, and heavy weapon damage, which is extremely good for launchers. It is practically perfect. Well, it is perfect actually. And for the Deathless, you'll want max size, area of effect damage, which is basically splash damage, but it's more than your class mod. Because area of effect damage increases damage for your grenades. I think anything like launcher related or sticky rounds related, and I think it also increases short fuses damage, but we're not using any capstones, not using short fuse in this build. So that's pretty cool. Deathless, as I said, is gonna go and put us at 1 health. Now we're going to use the Snowdrift because I like to move around with this build. Since you're losing launchers, your movement speed is a little bit reduced than normal. Can't quite like notice it here, but it's supposed to be reduced. So Deathless because movement speed. Now for the skill tree, I'll go over it really quickly. Cloud of Lead for basically not consuming ammo and bonus incendiary damage on that fourth shot. We're going Stoke the Embers for bonus incendiary damage. We're going Redistribution for health regen and ammo regen on crits. We're going 5 out of 5 on Scrappy for weapon damage and switch speed. We're going Russian offensive so that if we have to lifesteal, we can just sprint and shoot a yellow cake around at an enemy and go back to full HP. We're going 5 out of 5 on Grizzled. You do not want to put points in Fire and the Skagden because you can actually set yourself on fire, and with Mayhem 10 scaling, this fire dot is gonna push you into 5 for your life in an instant. Basically 3 ticks and you're dead. We're going into Torque Cross Motion. Now this got recently buffed. Now it has increased splash damage, so that's absolutely great. You want to take this because it's just really good for 5 points, 30%, insane. But you also have a chance to double your splash damage radius, which can actually kill you. So be wary of that. Don't stand too close to enemies. We're going Means of Destruction and Politically Pin. Now Politically Pin is gonna have make it so our grenades can crit, which can proc redistribution and experimental munitions. But experimental munitions is not really a good skill for grenades, it's more for our weapons. Now Means of Destruction it gives us ammo back in our gun and grenades back in our stock. So it's basically for sustain. We're going Auto Bear. You can actually spec out of Auto Bear if you want. If you're going to spec out of Auto Bear, I highly recommend putting a point into either Vampire or a point elsewhere, wherever you want, because you don't really need those 3 skills. You practically just want to put the point into Vampire for more health regen. Now we're going Vampire for health regen. Now 4 points is quite a lot, and 5 points would be even more. You already have a ton of survivability with just the damage you do and the shield we're using. You have a ton of survivability. So 4 points is just enough. 3 points would be enough. 2, maybe. I haven't tried 2 yet. And we're going to the last now. This is more of a... You can spec out of to the last. If you don't want to the last, and you want to put points into where is it? Skill. I'm trying to find it. Okay, I don't know where. Why can't I carry all these grenades? This is gonna sustain us more, basically. But to the last allows us to throw grenades at 5 for your life. Now this is basically for sustaining our ammo when we're down. If you're using the modifier Roguelite, which I highly not recommend using with this build, this can with the new Garden Ring that we have, Too Angry to Die basically. If you have this and you constantly throw out grenades and fight for your life, it can actually most of the time cancel out Roguelite, which if you can kill something really fast, you can actually get out of fight for your life before you get insta killed. So basically that's it for those skill tree. We're going also for 5 out of 5 in armored infantry for damage reduction and gun damage. 3 points into thin red line for max shield. We're going 5 out of 5 drowning brass, one of the best skills for MOZE, more damage. We're going experimental munitions for more incendiary damage on when hitting crit. And we're going Desperate Measures for gun damage when low health, when you're at low health. And we're going to get that bonus all the time, so that's 100% damage, just like this. So we're just gonna make a quick showcase. I'm gonna go through the first mobbing sections and then run up to Trond. And we'll try to one-shot Trond. Pretty sure I can do it if I get the right anoint and the right setup. Now, you don't even have to spam Iron Bear. You can already just, throw your grenades, your shield, and as you can see, I think they're gonna die soon. If you want, you can actually go into Iron Bear for even more damage. Well, now they all died, so that's kind of a bummer, but and we're not going some Perot because we don't actually need it. Even with the yellow cake, you don't need some Perot. As you can see, things just melt. This guy, dead. This guy, dead. And we haven't even showcased the yellow cake yet. So, the next mobbing section, I'll showcase the yellow cake. Still there. And we started with 38 rocket launcher rounds, and we're still at 36. Even though we went through a whole mobbing section, which is really nice. Now, yellow cake is the yellow cake. Just basically one-shot everything.
Oh, you're gonna die.
Go into my Iron Bear. Now, these little commander guys that never really want to stay off you because they're melee. You kill them pretty quickly if you stay away from them. I'm gonna back up and a little bit of this. I'm just shooting on it right there. Just continue shooting. You can even shoot at enemies. Like they have bad aim. This is even with the cartel event, and we're still not dying at all. I'm sure you're gonna go use the Jelson for the rest.
Get dead, scrub.
You don't even have to worry about reloading. So basically, this is my favorite MOZE build at the moment. I've got another MOZE build that I kind of want to show using the Minesweeper. I think it's pretty much as good as this one, just less fun. So. Okay, right there, we doubled splash damage and we went down, but that is completely fine. We can actually go into Iron Bear. Shoot a little bit. Click bearers. Absolutely love these guys.
Time for a sprint. We went up to 39 in our bracket capacity. So as you can see, you can sustain your ammo quite well. We're just gonna go run up to Trond, give him a little bit hug, a big hug. Now I recommend maxing out your SDU still because 51 rocket rounds is just perfect for your takedown. You can still run out of ammo to take down. There's so many enemies, and enemies are just tanky. But this can do it. This can do it. I promise. Right here, if I some ammo, because why not? Go into Iron Bear. Go next to Tron. And we almost one-shot him, but we can actually one-shot him. If you have bonus incendiary, you can probably one-shot him. Now this was it for my build showcase, for my little MOZE build. It's awesome. You should really try it out. If you need any of the gear, my PSN username is Joey's Gaming. I can go in your lobby and dupe some gear. But if you want to farm for the gear, I'll go over what you need. You'll need the second DLC to, not the second DLC, you'll need the, to farm Joey Ultraviolet for the yellow cake. Need to farm Warden for the Plague Bearers, Captain Tron that we just killed for the Chaosan, Unstoppable, or you can farm Athenas right now for Big Boom Blasters. This is a random drop from anywhere or vending machines, so just be on the lookout. Deathless, I found them to drop a little bit everywhere right now. On Promethea, I'm pretty sure the Meriden Metroplex is where you can get a lot of artifacts. And this one I got a while back ago. It's a god roll, so I kept it, but it's still level 53. If you can get yourself a level 57 one, that would be even better. Now the Bloodletter, I don't remember where this drops. Pretty sure you can just find them as world drop. They're pretty common, for me at least. And for the OPQ, you'll want to farm Joey Ultraviolet 2 because he has the highest drop chance. Sandhawks are optional for this build, you don't need them, but if you want to farm them, Katagawa Jr. drops them. So that'll be it for today, guys. Have a nice one, take it easy.